Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to tell you all the 5 main reasons why people are sometimes spooked by social workers. Alright everyone, hopefully you are having or will be having or have had a nice, happy, safe, fun Halloween. And at the time that I'm filming this, we are 1 day away from Halloween. So I thought I'd get with the spirit a little bit and dip into the candy jar that will be going off to some lucky kids tomorrow. And I'll be giving you the top 5 reasons why people are sometimes spooked by us social workers. So sometimes when a social worker is coming into a person's life, that person has had some challenges going on, personal challenges, family challenges, maybe some stuff going on with their kids. They got stuff going on. That's why a social worker has sometimes become involved in their life. And because of that, sometimes things need to change in order to get better. In fact, quite often that's the case. That's really a large part of what we as social workers do, is help people go through the changes that they need to go through. However, sometimes that change means that a person needs to become a little more accountable for themselves and their own actions, their own behaviors. And that's hard for people sometimes. So when a social worker comes in and suggests to someone that they should do something a little differently or change up the way they do something, that's kind of making that individual accountable, and it's making them have to change something. And when that's being done, they can't put the blame on anyone else. Oftentimes that is the case. A person will try to put the responsibility or the blame on another person, and if a social worker comes in and questions that and asks them to be accountable for themselves, that can be a little spooky for them. So when a social worker comes into a person's life and suggests that they might want to take another look at the way they're doing things, be a little more accountable to their actions and behaviors, if that person really wants things to change, they're going to need to make some changes to their lives. And not just temporary or one-time changes. Quite often these are lifelong changes that will need to be made. And for many, myself included, if I had to consider, or when I do have to consider changing things in my life, it's a little bit scary. And as social workers, often when we go into people's lives, these are the situations that we're going to. We're asking people to make quite often lifetime changes to something that they've done for a long time. And that's very spooky to many people. Hopefully as social workers though, we can help work through that spookiness and get them to where they need to be. So as a social worker is coming in and asking all these questions, an individual could feel like you're really questioning who I am as a person. You're telling me to be accountable for something that I haven't thought about being accountable for in my life. You're telling me to make changes to my day-to-day life that I don't want to make, and I never thought about making those changes. I never considered it. Now you want me to do that. You are questioning me as a person. You're questioning who I am. And that thought for anybody is a very scary thought, because when you've lived your life doing things in a way that you thought were okay, maybe that's the way you were raised, or you read something, or you learned it from somewhere, and to have someone question that, it can feel very threatening. And again, that's the time when social workers are often intervening in people's lives. So that can lead to people's perceptions that we are spooky characters, when we're just trying to get in there and help things move along. But understandably, that feels scary for some. The number 2 reason that people can sometimes see social workers as being a little spooky is we sometimes come in for something fairly innocent enough. Maybe someone's child is missing too much school, or the child said that they were hungry and they didn't have any food at home, or there's just something going on. Somebody in the community notices that there's an individual that's having some issues, and so a social worker can be called in to go assess the situation, see what's going on, and hopefully try to make things better. And in doing so, sometimes other things come up. There may be underlying issues that that person does not want to get out. Oftentimes in those situations, we as social workers might end up finding some intimate partner violence, domestic violence. There may be drug and alcohol issues going on. There may be some past trauma to the family that they don't want to get out. And so when we enter people's lives, there are often numerous other things going on that the family or the individual wants to keep to themselves or keep within the family, and to have a social worker go in for potentially something completely different and find those things out and begin to try to address them is a very spooky proposition for a person. And the final number one reason why people can sometimes see us social workers as being spooky is because we often enter people's lives at a very stressful time in their life. Things are going on, unknown things are happening, people are coming into the house, knocking on the door, asking questions. There's issues going on with children, with older adults, with neighbors. All these things are going on, and it's so super stressful for a person, and that's when we come in. We come in and start trying to do our thing, but it's hard to come into that situation when there's so much stress going on for that family. So our job is to get in there, assess the situation, figure out what's going on, how can we break this down and address the issues as needed, and help this individual or help this family. But when you are on the other side of that coin and you are living that stress, you're living that trauma in the moment, and this person comes in to try to help, that person looks spooky. So that is quite often one of the main reasons people see social workers as threatening or spooky, is because plain and simple, we are coming into their lives and they're being exposed to us at a time when things are in chaos. So those are my 5 top reasons why people sometimes see social workers as being spooky. But you might think something different. Whether you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear if you think I'm way off base, or if you agree, or if you got something else to add to that. I'll put a few other videos somewhere here so you can see some other stuff that we're doing on the Social Services Video Network. And I'd love for you to hit subscribe and hit the little bell so you can be notified when we put up more content. We're trying to start some conversation among social workers and others. We're trying to use this channel to start some conversation and help push social work along and get better as we go, and hopefully have a little fun while we're doing it. So hit the button to subscribe, hit the little bell, leave some comments, please share with your friends and contacts, and until next time, I shouldn't do it, but happy Halloween.